This is TWiT.
The long-rumored AirPods Max came out. But before I tell you all the features, cut to the bottom line, $549.
Whoa.
That seems a lot.
That's the cheapest you can get on
That's
there.
a lot of money.
That's a
Whoa.
yes, Merlin. That's a lot of money. It seems expensive.
Wow.
How much are the Bose Quiet Comforts? Because that's what they're going up against, right?
They're all they're all like 300, 350. The Sony's.
The Sony's.
There are headphones that are more expensive than this. You can spend a ludicrous amount of money on audio.
Oh.
You can buy $1 million setups and they'll offer to sell you accessories.
I'll be the last person to criticize
people,
expensive headphones. I have a pair of very expensive Hi-Fi Man headphones that are great because instead of buying a very, very fancy stereo, if you get really, really good headphones and a good input, you can get great sound. And so these Hi-Fi Men, which are magnetic planar technology, sound great. But that's not what these are.
Most people don't know those. Like the biggest issue for me with this is most people have no idea that those headphones exist. For most people, the high-end are like the Sonys and the Bose. And for Apple, Apple they look at as an affordable luxury brand. And then when Apple only introduces the high-end, like if they only introduce the Mac Pro and there's no Mac Mini, or they only have an iPhone XS and it's not the iPhone 11, you feel like that compact has been broken and they're only giving you the luxury and you want them and you can't afford them and you get really angry really fast.
Scooter X says, no, come on, guys. It's simple. Buy a Mac Pro and a Pro Display XDR on your Apple card and the cash back, you could buy the headphones. Free.
I mean, they're computationally, like they have a bunch of technology inside them that is expensive, but people aren't used to paying for the accelerometer and the gyroscope and the 8 different microphones and there's 2 H1 Apple Silicon 10-core audio processors. Nobody who buys headphones is used to paying for that.
Each cup has its own 10-core processor.
Its own 10-core system in package, like an Apple Watch.
See that's the problem that Apple's up against. Nobody is. I think the HomePod really proved that nobody is impressed with all the stuff you put into the press release. All they care about is maybe you put $1,000 worth of incredible technology into this. If it only sounds $8 more expensive than something that costs half as much, you lose. And I think that most people are going to regard this as a set of headphones for. And I mean this in a positive way, as for audio muggles, people who are just like, I want headphones that sound good. I want them to have really good noise canceling. I want them to sound really, really great. But once you get into the rarefied air of $550, yes, there are headphones that cost that much and more, but these are for the audiophiles, and I'm not sure if the audiophiles are going to think that these headphones are in their class. Well, it remains to be seen. But I just.
So that's the question: do these sound $550 good?
Yeah.
If they did, I don't care about the technology. They've got to sound.
Or do they have that much brand cachet? Like, will people buy them just to wear them?
Well, look at these. I mean, these come in 5. Go ahead, show John. Yeah, 5 gorgeous colors. They do look a little like an Altoids tin. They're a little more rounded.
So get this, Leo. The cups were made to exactly match the iPad Air, and the bands were made to match exactly the iPhone 12, so that they would be, regardless of which one you had, they would match both of them.
And the stem was made to match your Apple Watch. In fact, that could be an Apple Watch on the side right there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now they're wired and wireless, so which at least they are. You could plug them in, which I think
wired sold separately.
What? You don't even get a
you
jack.
A Lightning to USB-C cord, but if you want the Lightning to a 3.5 cord, I think it's like $35.
Oh, that's just insulting.
No charger.
Someone said $10 for every millimeter.
That's just insulting.
Yeah.
Because if you were on no one who cares about audio fidelity is going to listen wirelessly. It's a convenience, not a. Doesn't even aptX. Do they do aptX in the iPhone yet? I don't even think they do.
They do their own thing.
They do their own thing. Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that I think counteracts that a little bit is that I think if there are people who regard it not just as this is the Apple thing, this is I'm an Apple fan, I like Apple style. There are people that will think of it as not just as a good $300 pair of headphones, but as maybe a $250 fashion accessory on top of it. Because I think, I think the industrial design really bears that out.
Look, they actually stitched the L and the R into the fabric of the cup. Now,
there was a rumor that a bunch of features got cut, and one of them was that it would be able to automatically detect which of your ears it was on, and so it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
But it sounds like that was one of the features that got cut. So this stenciling is what we get.
Quick! Can you weave an L or an R into the cup?
Yeah.
Quick!
It's 2020. Everyone has learned to weave, Leo. They learned sourdough and they learned weaving. That is.
You've got Brooklyn artisanal weavers making the cups.
I think one of the challenges for Apple that is that you discover over time, if you're a little bit of a power user, that there's a lot that's sort of non-obvious things that these devices do, where it isn't really. It is apples and oranges in a lot of ways. I think the HomePod is a good example of that. Like I've got an old regular HomePod Prime. And I got one down here, and it does sound amazing. And when you hook it up to the TV, getting all the
which you
the
can finally
stuff,
do,
right? Which you cannot do with the Mini. But I mean, like, so for example, stuff like I may be non-obvious to somebody who's just ordering off of Amazon or whatever.
Right. That
like, okay, you're going to get that ability to get like Atmos, quote unquote, through this speaker, which is
spatial
amazing.
sound.
But like, again, the integration with other Apple products. So it's also maybe non-obvious that this can also be your HomeKit hub.
Right.
So the value proposition, what a dumb phrase. The thing that they need to sell to people in some ways and communicate is not just that this thing sounds good, but it works with all your other stuff. And to some extent, some stuff works better with their stuff than other stuff. And that could be a source of frustration because now you're like, okay, is my old phone charger going to work with this new phone? And that sounds silly to us, but that drives a lot of people.
This will work with your Apple stuff
on principle. You said, with not including the cord, there are people in some part of the spectrum who are like very upset about that stuff just on principle. Other people are not, and they'll drop the $500 because it's going to work well with Siri because they're all in on Siri. But what Apple's selling you in some ways like selling, not always succeeding at this kind of integrated lifestyle, like your iCloud. Right. Everything should work together, but like I think that's very difficult to communicate to a garden variety consumer. You could just say, well, these are good headphones and they're loud. Go buy them. But like, if you don't know about, let alone then utilize all the things that it can do with the other things. I love my Sony WHXM, whatever the hell they are, but like they're stupid as hell. They're so dumb. You can only be like synced to one thing at a time. To resync it, you got to turn it all the way off. Long press. Anybody have these? The WH, the nice Sony ones. Yeah, they sound great once they work, but getting them to work is just really not fun.
Bluetooth is a nightmare. I don't like wireless headphones for that reason.
You can also do the wire, but I just think that's a big challenge. I imagine for Apple is like working across business units with people to try and figure out how we sell this to people as part of this bigger thing we want you to do.
It's even more complicated because they own Beats, so you have to make something distinguished from the Beats products, right? Right. But you're not, and you want to charge $550, but you're not really. I don't know if you're really. These headphones have features every audiophile looks for. For instance, as you're listening to music, it will read you incoming text messages. What more could you want? I don't think they're selling this. I think you're exactly right, Merlin. They're selling this to a technology first person who wants
high
it
affinity Apple brand technology person.
Who wants it's like when you're in World of Warcraft and you get the enchanted armor with the enchanted helmet and the enchanted sword. You want the whole kit. And so, I mean, sure, I bet you there are Apple people who have all of the above. I know. I see it on Reddit. My
entire Twitter feed this morning was filled with pre-order pictures. Yeah. They were just one after the other.
I see it on Reddit.
But the rumor is there's supposed to be a lower. The rumor is there's supposed to be a lower end version of these too. Like if you think about the Apple Watch without the Sport Aluminum version, it's just ridiculously priced. Right. When you think about the HomePod now compared to the HomePod Mini, Apple has been fairly good at having that. Like the iPhone 12 versus the Max. The iPhone 11 was way better, received than the $1,000 phones, but they didn't ship the sport version at the same time. And I think that's also what bothers people, because if they saw this, said, yeah, there's a fancy metallic looking one with nice finishes and all this, and that's, $550 and good for you. I'm buying the $250 one and I'm happy.
Do you think people now still buy AirPods or with the AirPods Pro in the market? Like, do people look at the AirPods and go, yeah, for $100 more, I'll get the Pro version?
I think for kids. I bet for kids.
Okay, yeah.
But the other part of this is I hope this is the stupidest thing that I say today, but another way to look at this is headphones now in a pandemic where people aren't really going places, you need headphones for, like, think outside of our circle.
Actually,
right?
you want them because your roommates are saying, turn the music down. You're living with other people.
I wonder if they feel like they can do that price point because the kind of people who are going to buy costly headphones when they don't have anywhere to go much might be the people more likely to pay a little bit more.
You wouldn't wear these on the train.
Sense.
You wouldn't wear these on the bus.
I just think about losing stuff. I mean, like getting out of a lift in one of my AirPods back in the day, picking my kid up from school.
Oh, it's awful.
And it just perfectly bounced off my chest
down.
And here's me. No. As the car is driving away, it was perfectly placed for the wheel to go right over it. And like, I don't know, man. I'm forever trying to find stuff I've lost. I wouldn't want to lose 500.
How many AirPods have you bought? How many AirPods have you bought? No, I think I bought like 4. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's testimony to the fact because Apple sells them onesie-twosie. You can buy.
I really like
just
one. I like them so much. I really do.
You're wearing the AirPods Pro right now. These are, you know what? These are beautiful. I think these actually look really nice. I bet they're very comfortable. It's kind of like a medical appliance.
Like maybe it looks like something like when your doctor walks in with that, you're like, oh no,
God,
please, no.
It's that time of year again.
An ill for this, please.
The technology
and the procedure will begin shortly.
like that cup, if that cup is made of memory foam, so it tries to seal around your ear to make an acoustic seal so it can do the computational audio. But if, like me, you're wearing glasses and it can't seal, some of the low end is escaping, it's got a microphone inside to detect what you're hearing.
Oh my
God. And then
it
will adjust to compensate for any audio leakage that's happening because of glasses or something else that you're wearing. So they're doing, I think they said some ridiculous amount of millions of calculations per second.
That's why you need a 10-core processor in each ear cup.
Yeah. Well, like the other AirPods have the same processor, but they're only using 2 of the cores, so it scales differently.
Do the microphones do anything super special?
Yeah, so they have a bunch of microphones, and normally they'll just react, but they have one microphone that's listening for basic noise cancellation, and then they've added an extra microphone that's listening just for wind, because they found that wind was something that, this goes back to the AirPods Pro, wind was a particular annoyance for people, so they added an extra microphone just to detect and cancel out wind sound.
Wind bothers my wife a lot, especially at night. Yeah. She doesn't like that. So this is for who? This could be a game on the show. Trick Leo into buying these.
Trick. We just gotta wait. A few minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, the most basic thing, Leo, you need it for your work.
No. My work is broke.
Try it. It works,
my work is
really
broke.
well.
I can't. Yeah. In fact, the reason I can't buy this is because we don't have any money. So that's not going to work. So
you're the office Secret Santa and you drew Leo's name.
Oh, there you go.
No pressure.
I should tell Lisa this is what I want for Christmas.
So who is it for? Is that the question?
Who's it for? Should I get excited about a unique dual neodymium ring magnet motor?
Ooh.
Sounds good.
That's rare earth. That's a rare earth.
It's rare earth. Yeah. It's rare earth.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how many barefoot children in Botswana were involved in the manufacture of this. It could have been, that's expensive stuff. Actually, did Apple say now that they're getting their rare earths in ecologically sustainable ways?
I think they're working on reusing all the rare earths. I don't know how far they've gotten, but repurposing, I think is the term.
Does it say if it does the spatial thing?
Yes, it does spatial. It's spatial.
I think that is magic. I mean, there's not much stuff you can use it for right now.
But if I were watching Lord of the Rings on the TV and it would give me Atmos in my head.
It's different. So the TV is static. It doesn't move. And the AirPods are different because, so with the TV, you're sitting in front of the TV, and regardless of how you move, you expect it to come from the TV. But with you find yourself
doing this a lot to test it out, and do this. But the crazy part is, so I turned it, I got it, I finally got the firmware update. I was so excited to try this. And something's cool when you go, it's not working, honestly. Because at first you go like, oh, it's not working. Which means it's so subtle, but you do this and you're like, it's a witch. There's a witch in my iPad. What's happening? But it sounds so freaking cool. And it doesn't feel like a trick. Like with those kinds of things, it's sort of like, like when 3D movies came out and you could get a TV. They mentioned this on the Blank Check podcast recently. Used to be there was like a 3D button where it'd simulate 3D on a non-3D film, and you're like, oh, that's not really the thing. That ain't it, Chief. But we put these things in, and you're watching a movie, like it sounds amazing, and I mean subtle in the best possible way. You've tried it? Everybody's tried it here?
I have not, because I have AirPods Pro, but somewhere I can't find them.
Because like if you've got the sensors in the AirPods and you've got them in the device, and so the gyroscopes and accelerometers communicate with each other. And if you're moving the iPad, like let's say you're watching like this and then you lean back, your expectation now is that the audio, or you're just moving it sideways, the audio should still come from the person speaking. The center channel should still be the relative, not absolute center channel then. So as you move it around, it is adjusting where the audio is coming from so that it still feels like it's coming from the device you're holding, which just doesn't have to happen on a television set because that's a big static object. And it really messes with your brain at first. And then once your brain locks onto it, that's your new expectation and everything else sounds broken.
I went into my fancy 4K movies that I had on an iOS device, and I think I was doing Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and it was pretty trippy the first time.
So it's like surround. It gives you surround sound, but they're in your headphones or AirPods.
Relative spatial audio. Yeah, so relative Atmos basically.
Relative to what?
Relative to where you're holding the device and turning your head. So if your head turns, the device stays spatially where it is.
Well, who cares about that?
Yeah, that was
because it really sounds like it's in the room with you. It really sounds.
But
like
it is in the room with you. Wait a minute.
It's like to my preference is one of the reasons why I put headphones on is so that it doesn't matter like where my head is and where I'm turning relative to the actual device itself. I'll always get like beautiful like standard like balanced separation. So it's a wonderful piece of technological magic. But in terms of placing the audio as though it has the illusion of originating from the device it's playing from, that's not something that I really value.
You know what stays in place when you move your head around? TV speakers.
Vinyl. I thought you were going to say vinyl.
Yeah, vinyl. I mean, so I thought it was going to simulate a surround system with the left right behind me and up above me, and it does do that.
Yep.
In addition to that,
it's hard to describe its depth. It really, the words you're using remind me of like, it's quadraphonic. It sounds like it's all around you.
Exactly.
And that's true to an extent, but it's just more like it sounds whatever the room sound. When you imagine the room you're watching on TV, that's like what it sounds like, and it doesn't feel gimmicky to me. I mean, obviously everybody's got their own preferences, but I think it's amazing, and I can't wait. That alongside like being able to add a second pair of iPods, like when my kid and I are watching, the kind of media that my wife would just assume we not be watching.
Right.
It's going to be really cool to get to put those in and watch that.
I was thinking I could pair these to my Apple TV, right? And I could have two sets. Yeah. So my wife and I could both be wearing headphones while we're watching TV, which is something.
But no spatial audio on Apple TV yet, but I think that's
really? You only get spatial audio?
No, it's only on iOS devices. Atmos. That's the frustrating.
It does the Atmos, but not. So this is where people get confused. It does the Atmos, but it doesn't do the relativistic thing because the TV never moves. So if you just move around, you don't expect where the source of the audio to be moving. But if you're watching on your iPad and you move it, it still wants to come from the same position for you.
You're not convincing me yet, boys.
And it's that easy to explain to consumers.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even know that.
You know how you wish your TV moved? Yeah. Check it out, $500. How many you want? Be honest. You want 3?
You're not.
What if you lose one?
Plus, you'll be happy to know we're not ruining the environment by giving you a free cable or a free charger. You're welcome. This
is extremely, extremely rare earth. We recommend that you get one for your desk, one for your house, one for each of your your yachts, including the wax yacht, because you're going to want to have those separately. They'll charge separately. We have a separate charger for that, and then we have a charge adapter that will generate the feeling of power in a room. That's $35 for the dongle adapter.